Hello YouTube, it is Sunday night and we're going to try and play a little bit of, let's grab it here, Phantasy Star Online. I'm going to try something a little bit different. You're going to see that the skin for the main gaming screen is a little altered, and that's because I've recently joined the Discord. Now, for probably about a year, a number of people have been telling me to join the Discord, and I've been aware of that service for quite some time. I've just never actually utilized it. I thought, okay, well, the YouTube chat is probably enough. So I joined the Discord, and the first time I was in the chat room, it was a little bit overwhelming. It reminded me of the old IRC chats. There's a lot of different sort of sub menus and things like that to delve into, but I did a little bit of research and I did a little bit of playing around, and I think I got the hang of it for the most part. That being said, I don't know it 100%. It does appear to be quite active in some of the rooms that I was told to join. So just for tonight, I'm trying out a new window on the main gaming screen where it shows a little bit of the general Discord chat. And if you are involved in the general Discord chat and you don't want that involved, just let me know. I can easily swap it out. It's not a big deal. But I thought just for tonight we'd add that in because the YouTube chat is always going to be saved in the right column anyways when you have the live replay chat. So I thought I'd just try something a little bit different and see how it turns out. I also added some borders and stuff like that just to kind of give it a little bit more definition. But tell me what you think. If it's something you want to keep, I'll definitely keep it in. But if it's something that sometimes those Discords are a little bit more private, just let me know and I'll easily just cut it right out. So no big deal. All right, in the meantime, I'm going to try one of these guys. It is called a Baron Artisanal Cream Soda. So let's give it a shot. I generally don't like the sweet stuff, but I was at the beer store and some girl turned me on to it. So I thought, hey, we'll give it a shot. So cheers. So it just tastes like cream soda. I'm an adult man. Cream soda does not taste that great to me, but I don't know what I was expecting. Either or, we're going to polish it off eventually. Okay, so let's just jump right into the game and see who is on board tonight. Last time we were playing, I mentioned that I've altered my setup just a little bit here. One of the big additions that I added on was I finally was able to hook up a Bluetooth transmitter to the Atlona HD 500, and I'll put it to this little guy here, which is just a little Bluetooth earpiece. And I'm pretty happy with the way it works. The connection is fairly stable for the most part. I did notice that every time that you turn this on, you pretty much have to repair this guy, but it's not a huge deal. All you have to do is just hold it down for about 5 seconds on startup. It'll say ready to pair, and then this picks it up automatically. So you don't have to set in any codes or anything like that. So overall, it's not a bad little device, but there is that little inconvenience. But I think that little inconvenience compared to the wires and the freedom of having the Bluetooth piece just completely overshadows it. So, all right, who do we got here? Let's start, continue. Okay. And like I was saying before, the big advantage to the Bluetooth is, or hooking up directly to the Atlona, is there's zero lag. Before, when I would have it go through my computer and I would pick up the audio coming from the Elgato, there'd be about a 2-second lag. Now you don't notice that in the live stream because I've offset the video to compensate for the lag from the Elgato, but the computer is still rendering the Elgato at that rate, so it just outputs the audio accordingly. All right, select ship. Let's see who we got on board. Wow. Busy night in Altamira. Let's see what's going on here. Hey, look who it is. Hola. All right, so actually it was Jobel here, Jobel, who convinced me to jump into the Discord. So, good job. Are you leaving for tonight? Let's see who's actually on Altamira before we get too far into it. Just got on. Okay, cool. Choice search. Who do we got? Don't know this person. I think we played with Jim Bob before. And we know Jaxer. Okay, cool. Well, okay. Wow, okay. That person does not like Raquel or Raquel. Alright, so what are we playing tonight? I see that a team who is in Quest is not a big fan of Raquel for some reason. Hola. Alright, we got a full house here. No idea. No idea. I just noticed the team. Long time, Jim Bob. I don't think we played with Jim Bob in probably about a year or so, so it has been quite some time. Okay, what do we got going on in the chat? Alright, yes, experimenting is always good, and I just dropped my controller and I'm so glad that the VMU did not fall out. That could have been devastating. Alright, and we missed a bunch in the actual chat, so I don't want to leave anybody in the lurch here. I've been busy with work. I hear you, amigo. Alright, what other teams we got here? Organize, join. Okay, just one on hard, and it's a person that we haven't played with previously, and they're not a big fan of Raquel. Now, we've just started playing with Raquel, however you want to pronounce their name, and they're pretty decent players, so I mean, I don't see what the issue is. We may get destroyed on alt, but I don't, but we could try. Okay, I'm using Eves, but I pretty much always use Eves. Okay, so we could try the mines and see how far we get, not go all the way to falls. That wouldn't be too bad. I think we're all on non-EP tonight. Okay, that's good news. We also have a new brother in the lobby on level 7. Yes, we don't want to leave Jobel out. Alright. Oh wait, did they jump out already? Oh, maybe they did. Alright. Well, let's just... Interesting. No idea. Thought they were just here. Okay, let's start a team. You wanna lead Jaxer? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're good for whatever. I'm good for whatever. Alright, sweet. So it looks like whatever we play, it's going to be on alt, so we'll let them burst first. And I'm just curious, who else jumped in? Organize, join. No, it's still that one person. Okay, cool. Alright, so we'll let Jaxer start the team, give him a bit of time to burst, and so far everything looks pretty good. Okay. Cameron Lewis. You know, it's funny you mention that. So both of those bands, Nine Inch Nails and KMFDM, gotta admit, I've fallen in love with pretty much both of them. The last couple of Nine Inch Nails albums have just been terrible, particularly Hesitation Marks. I was a big fan of The Slip. I really hated With Teeth. Year Zero was pretty good, but The Slip was great. I think that was their last really good album. I think I've seen Nine Inch Nails about 8 times live, and they generally always put on a good live show. In fact, the best show I think I ever saw Nine Inch Nails play was at the Molson Amphitheater here in Toronto for their Wave Goodbye tour. Now, the idea behind the Wave Goodbye tour was it was going to be their last show. He was retiring Nine Inch Nails. It was back in 2008, so it was like 1988 to 2008, and it was going to be, you know, the 20-year history of Nine Inch Nails, and it was great. So they actually opened for Jane's Addiction, believe it or not. And do I have my mag? Yes, I do. And I guess between different shows, they alternated who opened for who. So it was just a really stripped down show. Prior to that, that was actually the last Nine Inch Nails show I ever saw. Prior to that, Nine Inch Nails kind of kept upping the ante and having these very, very large stage performances. And it was really, really good. Like, I think the one before that, was that for the Slip tour? It must have been. It was fantastic. Like, he was doing all sorts of really wild stuff. He had like a big screen that would drop down, and it was like a large drop down drum machine that he was playing on the fly, and that was pretty cool. And just a lot of different sort of laser effects and LED effects and all that kind of stuff. But this was stripped right down. There was no lighting effects or whatever. It was pretty much during the day, which is kind of interesting, because typically you see them kind of in low light. And I think there's actually some YouTube footage still available online of that particular gig, and that was like my favorite. I was on the floor. I was actually wearing a Pigface shirt to the show, and when I was at the floor, some guy came up to me and said, "Great shirt." And then I watched them go through a back door and they went on stage. And from what I understand from my friend, this was the guy that was actually shooting the gig, which was kind of funny. But yeah, it was like pretty aggressive. It was, you know, it reminded me a little bit of like Woodstock 94 in terms of performance wise. And then after that, you know, they just kind of, I don't know, they just kind of, lost a little bit of edge. I think it was when Trent Reznor sold Beats to to who did he sell it to again? I can't even remember. Was it Apple? Regardless, he made $1 billion, so he doesn't really have to work anymore. Right? Where are we going? Forest or Cave? And then after that, I was given a couple of opportunities to go check them out, but I actually passed just because I was so disappointed with the last couple of albums. Like, I got the deluxe edition for Hesitation Marks, and you put it on, and I don't know what happened to Trent singing, but it's particularly nasally now, and also the music, like there's no bite to it. A lot of it is just these, and I like sort of that ambient sound when I want to listen to bands that do that. But with Nine Inch Nails, you know, I think of albums like Broken, I think of albums like The Downward Spiral, things like that have a little bit of crunch. The Fragile, for some reason, not a lot of people like it. I think when it first came out, I wasn't a huge fan of that particular album. I remember driving all the way into town from where I live, which is about an hour, on release day of the CD single for The Day the World Went Away. And, you know, I was a little bit disappointed with that because for a single, it was a bit mellow, but when my adult ears picked it up, when I got into my mid-20s, that became one of my favorite albums, actually. And then, you know, they were on hiatus for the most part for a couple of years, and With Teeth came out. And nothing about that album I enjoy. There's not a single song on there that I like. There was a couple of singles, and they were just absolutely horrible. So it was kind of bizarre because Nine Inch Nails, prior to that, really was not putting out a lot of content. Like, the gaps were pretty few and far between. Like, we're talking years and years and years, like half a decade in between albums and EPs and things like that. And then all of a sudden, within like 4 years, he puts out 3 full albums. So I was a big fan of Year Zero when that came out. It was a definite improvement over With Teeth, but I think The Slip was kind of their last great album. And I think the reason I liked The Slip was because it felt like there was a band involved. It didn't just feel like it was Trent Reznor sitting behind a computer. And I'm trying to think of who was all involved in that album. I believe I think that was when Robin Fink joined again. I know he was definitely on the live tour. Also, the bass player, I believe, for Beck was involved, and I can't remember who was on drums. But yeah, it was a fantastic little ensemble, and they had some really, really great songs. I really enjoyed that album. But yeah, after Hesitation Marks came out, I just realized that it's no longer really Nine Inch Nails for me. It's kind of, you know, I think Trent Reznor releasing a product, and that kind of leads into KMFDM. Now, KMFDM was always a product. I mean, they kind of make fun of that in a lot of their music. But all that early stuff, like the early 90s, even up until the early 2000s, I really, really liked KMFDM. And then I realized that they kind of follow a very set your watch release schedule for their albums, and all of their albums kind of started meshing into one and sounding the same. And in particular, when a lot of the key members in the mid 90s started to leave, like Raymond Watts, who I've seen actually as Pig once about 2 years ago, and that was fantastic. NH when they left, Tim Skold when they left, it really kind of. And actually, who else left around that time too? Gunter Scholes when they left. Just whenever the members that were, you know, Sasha will always say that KMFDM is basically their project. But when they left, I felt a lot of the soul of that band left as well. And I just kind of stopped being interested in them, to be quite honest. They just started to sound really, really similar. All of their albums, like, even more so. Now, KMFDM albums have always kind of sounded similar, but now they just sounded sort of like I couldn't pick out one song from the other. If you were to play the last 3 or 4 albums back to back, they all just sound identical to me. But that being said, they had such a big influence on my life. Like, I couldn't tell you how many times I played Angst by KMFDM when I was younger. I couldn't tell you how many times I played The Downward Spiral when I was a kid. Like, I was definitely one of those moody teenage people, and I would play The Downward Spiral and the Broken EP on cassette, of all things, and just sit there and doom and gloom in my room as a teenager. At the same time, just wondering, like, how do you make this kind of music? And it's funny because I think around 96 or 97, I was working at one of these community access programs when the internet first became really more accessible to the public, and people sort of saw the writing on the wall of how important it was to get people online. So one of my jobs as a teenager was to work for the community and just assist people in accessing the internet. And I can remember writing an email to Skinny Puppy saying, "How do you make industrial music?" Shockingly, they never replied back to me, but I eventually figured it out. You know, I put out, there's a few albums available on my my YouTube channel that I put out quite a number of years ago. It's been way too long. And one live show and a couple of live performances and stuff like that. And I really like hardware. I'm not a big fan of just sitting around at a DAW and using software, but you know, it does have its moments. It's definitely easier to sit down at a DAW and just punch in some MIDI data and, you know, just coordinate your synths and your VSTs and stuff like that and your VSIs accordingly. But I was always a big fan of hardware. I always wanted to have a big hardware rig, and I ended up building a very large hardware rig. And yeah, unfortunately it's been retired due to life circumstances, but I still have all the equipment. I just haven't got it out at the moment. Okay, where is everybody? Oh shit, did I miss I must have missed a warp or something somewhere. Okay, let's go back. I definitely missed a warp here somewhere. But that being said, I can't, even though I'm kind of fallen out of love with them to some extent, I can't ignore the fact that they were both hugely influential to me. Now, this is where we came in, I believe, right? No, we don't want to go to Pioneer 2. Fuck. Okay, how did I get lost? We've done this map how many times? How many hundreds of times have we done this map, and why did I lose my crew? Okay, let's get out of here. This is kind of embarrassing. Holy smokes. Alright, where are you guys? Where are you guys? Alright, there we are. Okay. And actually, if you go to the YouTube page, you're going to see a full show that I recorded of Pig about 2 years ago as well. And that was fantastic. That's what I think of when I think of old school industrial. It was like a really shitty bar called Coalition here in Toronto. I actually know a little bit one of the guys that runs the events and stuff like that at that place. And gave me word that they were playing, and yeah, like we're talking like floor stage, like nothing's raised. If you watch the video, like they're hanging off the rafters and stuff like that. Not bad for 50-year-old guys, you know. All right, what's going on in the chat? Okay, Trevor, yes, Fallout 76. I'm glad that Bethesda is putting some video out about that. I'm very excited about Fallout 76. Everything I've read so far, it looks like it's going to be similar to New Vegas, which, even though a lot of people, and like I agree, it is superior to Fallout 3 in a lot of ways. I find with Fallout 3, it's just, for me, it just has that, like I love the little quirks in it. I know that that game is terribly buggy and not perfect in any way, and I love it for that. New Vegas does have its quirks, and it had really kind of refined the game for what it is, but there's just something about Fallout 3 that just captivates me. I think it's the landscape as well. New Vegas, I do like that sort of dystopian desert type look, but the wasteland in Fallout 3, that is the most iconic game environment that I've ever experienced. There's so many parts to it that I just can't ever forget. Like sometimes even when I used to play it, like I put in like 3 or 4 hours and then I go to sleep and I dream that I was in the wasteland. You know, that just happens, right? If it's something you're doing just before bed, what can you say? But yeah, I'm very excited about Fallout 76. I'm very excited about Fallout Anniversary Edition coming to Switch. Even though I'm really excited about Fallout 76, I don't know, the reality of me actually being able to play it to the extent that's probably needed in order to fully experience it. I just don't know if I have that kind of time. Now I heard that it could be an MMO too, which is really interesting. Even though all the Fallout games to me feel like an MMO with your interaction with the NPCs and stuff like that, to actually have an open world MMO Fallout game would be very interesting. So we'll see what happens. Again, I haven't seen the E3 stuff, so I don't know if they were able to validate whether or not they were going to be making it an open world experience, but definitely want to check it out. I know that a lot of people have been posting live streams of E3 and posting comments and stuff like that and reaction videos to it already, but I haven't got around to looking at it just quite yet. I will eventually, though. Alright, where are we going? Up this way. Okay. Right, what do we got going on in the chat? Okay, we'll probably have to wait like 3 or 4 years for ESVL. Okay, you're gonna have to help me out, my friend. What is ESVL? Alright, and what do we got here? Nothing? Okay, perfect. Oh, Elder Scrolls 6. Yes, I've heard about that. Hard to say what, like, I don't know, those Elder Scrolls games, I enjoy them. I enjoy Morrowind quite a bit. I didn't experience Skyrim to its full extent, but I enjoyed what I played of it. For me, I think what it is that I like the fantasy setting a lot. It looks great. It's very engaging for what it is, but it doesn't feel tangible. Whereas the Fallout universe feels real for what it is. I mean, obviously you've got very fantastical elements like the different kind of mutants and stuff like that, but it feels like it's grounded in some sort of sense of possible reality. Like, I know that the idea of having super mutants and stuff like that is pretty much impossible, but just the way the characters interact with each other and stuff like that, like, it feels real. And there's something about the fantasy element of Skyrim and Morrowind and basically all of the Elder Scrolls games that just sort of don't hold my suspension of disbelief, whereas the Fallout series, like, it really feels like it's something that could have happened at some point, or could happen at some point. And oh, cool, Bob Dobbs is joining in. Haven't seen Bob in a while either. But who knows? This could be the one. Hey, Bob, long time no see. Alright, good old Bob popped into the chat, I think about a week ago or so, and just said that they were going to hopefully be jumping in a little bit more. Glad to see them on board. It's been a while since we played PSO with Bob Dobbs. Okay, bang, bang, bang. Ah, no worries, Bob. No worries. Aren't we all? And I died. Of course I died. Alright, let's heal up here. And let's launch a damage trap. Why not? Boom, boom, boom. Item, mag, let's feed our mag while we're thinking about it. Come on. There we go. One more. Come on, one more. There we go. Beauty. Okay, now we can take this guy out. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, cool. Actually, how much XP are we away? Not too much. 31,000. I am shocked. Oh, cool. Defense material. Anything else we can use around here? Now, did we pick up that evade material? That would be nice. Oh, we did. Excellent. And we got a couple more escape dolls. Okay, we're not doing too bad. And do we need any mood atomizers? We probably do, actually. Trap visions, trimates. Okay, let's grab that mood atomizer because they are always handy. And we are waiting for... Cool, we got Bob in. He lives! Alright, let's jump through here and... Alright, sweet. Alright, now Jovo, I know you're in the chat. Sorry about that we lost you. Definitely will help you level up at some point. Oh wow. We are making short work of these guys. And they're done. Okay, well... Let's see if we got any goodies. Going back to E3, I have heard so far, like the little clips that I've watched, that a lot of companies are dropping the ball, in particular EA, but then again, EA really hasn't done well for themselves in quite a number of years. Their sports titles always do pretty well, but I think most people are not very interested in EA games over the last, like, what, 10 years maybe? I know they haven't really released anything that's caught my attention that much, and when they do typically release games that are supposed to sort of be like AAA titles that do really well, generally they underwhelm to some degree. Now there is one game that I'm really interested in seeing a little bit more info on, and that's Rage 2. Now, if Rage 2 is everything that it promises to be, Rage 2 could be the follow game that I'm looking for, like a big open world multiplayer experience set in a post-apocalyptic future in a desert wasteland. Now that could be very interesting. I really didn't enjoy Rage 1. It felt kind of like a rail shooter. It was just way too linear for me. I really didn't enjoy it, but Rage 2, if they're gonna follow through with what they advertise, this could have been the game where they repair all the mistakes. So, see what happens. Sorry, I missed that. Not I, said the Jim Bob. Alright. Who drag... Oh. I was the problem last time. Alright. So, maybe what I'll do is I'll tag and sit back. Okay, cool. Well, it looks like we shouldn't have an issue this time. Okay, cool. So we're all playing just regular. Nice. Just looking at a couple of comments here in the chat, and somebody mentioned they are interested in getting online with the DC but don't have really any affiliation or nostalgia for it. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, kind of common knowledge that I didn't grow up on the Dreamcast. I'm not gonna reiterate what I've said a million times before, but it was a console that passed me by. I actually didn't get into it until about 3 years ago, and I kind of got into it at a really good time because it was just when getting online became relatively easy. Now, if you watched my old How to Get Online Dreamcast video in the past, you'll see that it was still a bit of a complicated process, but not nearly as complicated and time-consuming and everything as using the PC DC setup, because you're going to need an entirely different computer for that to work properly. Fuck. But I knew you could get online with a Dreamcast. So I started doing some research, and I followed a few different blogs and forums and stuff like that, and I managed to stumble across a few different websites, and I pieced together all the information, put it all together, put it out in the public, and some people were able to utilize that and get online. It was great. And PC Wizard put out a couple of really great videos and showing how to get online, just a little bit easier as well. And then Kazade sort of updated it and made the actual OS for the DreamPi much easier to not easier to install. It's easier to install anyway, but you know, you didn't really have to do a lot of different tweaking of the DNS and all that kind of stuff to go to different servers. It would just automatically log into specific servers, which is great. It just makes it that much easier to get going. But it was pretty much the online aspect of the Dreamcast that kind of got my interest. I wasn't overly interested in first-party offline games. I know games like Sonic Adventure, which I played a little bit of, they're quite fun. They're good, but there's something just a little bit, I'm not gonna say isolating, but I think you're missing a lot if you're playing Dreamcast and you're not at least trying to experiment with the online experience. And it's just so incredibly easy nowadays, and there's such a versatile way of getting online that if you've got a Dreamcast and you haven't tried it out yet, you're really doing yourself a disservice with the whole experience. There's just so many people that are getting online every day, and the more people that get online and stay online, the more people that will get inspired to stay online as well. So you know, a lot of people get the DreamPi hooked up, they try a couple of games here and there, and they get disenfranchised because there's not a lot of people playing, which is fine. I can totally appreciate that. But you know, if we get more people on from different parts of the world, and you know, people are on at all times during the day, like, you know, whenever you jump on at any time during the day, you're gonna find somebody. That's gonna inspire more people to want to get online themselves, and that's kind of where I want this game to be at. I want it to be so that there's never any empty lobbies. I want there to be lobbies open all the time. I want to see that, you know, there's more than just ultimate players all the time. There's going to be always somebody that you can play with in a team at any given time during the day at any different level. And it's not you know, it's not impossible. I think of all the games that are available on the Dreamcast play online, Phantasy Star Online is definitely the most accessible, I'd say. I guess Quake if you're into that style of gaming, but you know, just the MMO and aspect of it where you're constantly building on one character, and I feel like the experience multiplier is pretty balanced for the most part, and I also feel like the chat interface is kind of, even though it's just text and you're not able to use any kind of voice chat or anything like that, it's you know, like, you can, I don't have to say too much more about it. Like, just look at it. It's extremely smooth. It's really easy to see who's saying what. It's not like there's just a chat log on the left. You got to constantly figure out who's doing what. It's extremely user friendly, I guess. And with this game, there's always going to be, like, you can know very little about it and enjoy it and have fun, and you can also be a person who knows everything about it, and you're always going to find yourself finding new things every time. Okay, Jim Bob. Okay, did I pick up something that I could use? Okay, evade material. Yes. Dimates. Maybe I'll get rid of a couple of those grinders. Drop. Drop, and I think I got a... Did I get a tri grinder? No, maybe I didn't. Alright, sweet. Alright, so it looks like we're gonna do a quick little caves run. Bang, here we go. Okay, just jumping into the chat here. Have I played the Xenoblade games? I played Xenoblade a little bit for 3DS. I really liked it. It's probably one of the best 3DS games out there. I haven't completed it though, and it wasn't because I lost interest in it. It was just one of those things where I stopped playing it for a little while and I got a little bit lost when I tried to pick it up. And because I got a little bit lost, I just kind of went on to something else. But it was always a game that I told myself that I'm going to jump back into. Actually, now that you mentioned it, maybe I will kind of throw that cart in my 3DS pouch and start getting into it again on the bus. There's a couple of different games for 3DS, and the 3DS has such great, large, epic games available to it that I always told myself, okay, well, I do a lot of traveling and transit. It's just the perfect opportunity for me to kind of get out there and play all of these AAA handheld titles, which, you know, I think look fantastic for the most part. Like all of these modern handhelds, sure, they don't look as great as 4K gaming on, like, let's say an Xbox or something like that, but for what they are, they look absolutely fantastic. So much going on in them. Definitely a step up from, you know, actually I'll show you guys something in a little bit. You know, when I first started playing handheld gaming, it's funny because I've seen a couple of people talk about the Tiger handhelds and, you know, who would play those back in the day, and I think to myself, like, oh, I played those back in the day. And it was for exactly those reasons that people are articulating about the Tiger handheld. It's like, yeah, it's one game. It's the only game you can play. They're extremely simple. Some of them barely qualify as a game. But hey, if you're dirt poor and you want to pretend to have a handheld gaming system, what better way to do that than with a Tiger electronic handheld game? So I can recall some of my favorite. I was actually able to beat the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tiger electronic handheld game. And that's the one where you're in the sewer, and I can't remember which character you're supposed to be playing. I don't think it really particularly matters. And you basically got to go through this obstacle course. So you jump over a couple of these different spinning things. You got to time it just right. And if you get it, you progress to the sewer, and then you jump down the sewer, and then you've got to go through these spinning little paddles. And if you get to the end, then you go back to the start, except they add, I think they add like a mouser or something like that. And you do that a couple of times, and there's never an end screen where you just win it. Just everything just kind of repeats and loops that way. So I think it's up to yourself to decide whether or not you've beat that game or not, because you can beat that loop, you know, 2, 3 times, 100 times, and it's really not going to change any. You just keep going around in circles. I could also remember having the Mega Man handheld game as well. I think I beat that as also. I believe there's what, 2 or 3 different levels. That there wasn't a whole lot, but yeah, I can recall spending a lot of time on that and actually beating it as well. And then my friend had an original Game Boy, and we played a lot. I played a lot of Tetris on the original Game Boy. Probably pissed them off quite a bit because batteries were quite expensive. If you had rechargeable batteries, they sucked. All those old nickel-cadmium rechargeable batteries. And most people didn't. They just kind of had one-off Duracells or whatever the, you know, kind of cheap brand of alkaline battery was at the time. And yeah, I can remember just kind of grabbing it on the bus and just grinding out Tetris until I died. And I don't know. That game is. I've always liked Tetris. I can't help myself. I even have it for. Well, I have it for pretty much every console that's available I don't think I have any of the mobile phone apps for it though. I did like Super Mario World when that first came out too for the original Game Boy, but I just found the sprites a little bit too small to fully see what I was doing, especially on the original Game Boy because the screen is quite tiny. Right, where are we going here? If you play it on, let's say, Nintendo SP Advance, Nintendo Advance SP, you're going to notice quite a bit of difference. Okay, do we need to open this? No, we've already done it. All right. Well, let's go through the exit then. And warp. Sounds good. Okay. Let's feed our mag while we're thinking about it. Give items, Diamate. So, some unsurprising news also that I'm sure everybody is aware of at this point, but hey, why not bring it up and get my 2 cents? So, I'm involved with the Atari Age forums. I have been for quite some time. I kind of dip in and out of interest with it. Don't always follow what's going on, but it's just kind of a really good general gaming forum. I think I've had an account there for about 5 or 6 years, but only really recently started getting interested in it again since I've been playing a little bit more Atari. And now the Atari VCS, when that campaign started, I think most of us looked at the Indiegogo page, and I've already said my 2 cents, and I think some other people have picked up on it as well in terms of what is going to happen with that Indiegogo campaign. But the big thing is that they advertised gameplay, Tempest 4000, and even with the Atari VCS playing Tempest 4000, I was still kind of indifferent. I was like, it looks like a good game, but definitely nothing that I'm going to spend $339 American on. So, I did not participate in the Indiegogo, but a lot of people apparently did, 10,000 people in fact. The thing is, everybody I've spoken to, in real life, online, whatever, nobody has said that they've supported it. So I'm wondering who actually is supporting the Atari VCS. Is it people that... See, and this is the weird thing. Like, the Atari system now is going to appeal to people that are much older than I am. Like 10, 15 years older than I am. So, an argument can be made that, it's people that don't participate in these forums, and that's why you don't see them talking about buying or pre-ordering the system. But it made $1 million in the first few hours. Oh shit, that is Bob's, I think. Someone left some goodies. Alright. Let's get rid of these stupid lilies. They're such a pain in the ass. Okay, so the argument could be made that, okay, these are people that are a bit older and they don't participate in forums, and that's why you don't hear them bragging about pre-ordering for the Atari VCS. And that said, if it made over $1 million in the first 3 hours, these people must be savvy enough with the internet and computers that they're participating in forums to know about the pre-sales and the pre-orders and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to dismiss that right away. I am thinking that probably there was a lot of, let's say, shill accounts that opened up just to order it to make it seem like it had a lot of attention. And then they showed off the actual gameplay, the gameplay of Tempest 4000. And now it's been revealed that they actually they weren't using a real Atari VCS to play that. It was actually just played on a regular old computer. And apparently they're justifying it by saying, in the small print on the ad, they said that this was not actually, not that they didn't say it wasn't actual gameplay, but this was a representation or something to that effect of what actual gameplay would be like. So quite deceptive. Definitely, if you're going to make comparisons to, let's say, the Coleco Chameleon, it's 100% spot on. Like, this feels exactly like that campaign. Now, the only difference is I feel like the Atari VCS is still going to come out. It's just that, you know, they probably shouldn't have lied about the ability to actually play games on it. They should have just said, okay, we don't have a proof of concept, we don't have a working console yet, but by all accounts, when we get our money and are able to develop our first console based on the specs that we've created, it should work 100% perfectly fine. Now, is that a good campaign? Absolutely not. Is it honest? Yes, it is as well. So I'm kind of torn on how they should have bridged that. I think they probably should have had at least a working prototype before they decided to ask for more money. But it also, oh cool, I'm only 5,000 points away. It also tells me that even if it does come out, there's going to be some caveats to what they've proposed in the Indiegogo campaign. I can't see them offering more than what they've already offered, but I can see them possibly conceding to less based on budgetary restraints and things like that. So that's a little dissuading. I know that a lot of people have encouraged to just pull their money back from Indiegogo, which, you know, I kind of support as well. I've supported a lot of these things in the past, and I find that the best way to do it is don't be a slacker backer, just buy it when it's available, because they always are available. But then if everybody pulls out, there's the possibility of nothing coming out. And again, like, I don't really have a stake in the game because I never plan on buying this console. My hope is that it's released. My hope is that people get it, they get bored of it within a few years, and then somehow, some way it gets donated to a thrift store, or I pick it up in a yard sale for a couple of bucks. I know this is not outside the realm of possibility because it is exactly the reason that I own 2 Ouya systems and have never spent more than $15 on all of them, or sorry, $18 on all of them collectively. So yeah, I'm kind of hedging my bets that it's going to fail upon release and people will donate it, and then I'll have this really interesting looking box that I purchased for $10 at a thrift store. Okay, gotta double back here, bang, bang, bang. Kind of want to break out the Heaven Punisher just to have a little bit of fun, but it's really kind of ineffective against these enemies, so... Okay, mag, let's feed our mag while we're here, and we've got a little bit of breathing room. Bang, bang, bang. Oh no, okay, get out of here. Okay, oh. Alright, sweet. Keep forgetting to use my traps, damn it. Okay, try mate, can I use it? Yes I can. Okay, cool. Alright, moving right along. We're doing pretty well, folks. Not really close to the end, but I feel like our team is finally being able to figure out each other's advantages and weaknesses. Okay, what do we got going on in the chat here? Shin Megami Tensei, yes. I have a few of those games, and they are a lot of fun. They are definitely not what I expected when I first got my copy of, what was the first Shin Megami Tensei for the 3DS? It wasn't what I was expecting in terms of a role-playing game. It's a fantastic game. just really, really different. Oh, sweet. But definitely a series that requires a lot of time and attention, and I would like to get into some of the other games for it, and even some of the Persona games too. It's just one of those things I haven't really quite got around to yet. My hope is that when the Switch finally figures itself out in terms of the eShop, that they're going to re-release a lot of these games on the Switch. Hopefully... Oh, sweet. Defense material. Hopefully they also get that revision of the Switch 2 that I'm hoping for to repair some of the problems that I've heard the machine does have. Just in terms of maybe getting a glass screen, maybe also getting a better battery life. Okay, is one of these doors false? I always feel like they possibly are. No. But having like a good Shin Megami Tensei package that they can release, that would be a lot of fun. Interesting thing about that series is it's cross-platform, I believe, with the PlayStation as well. I don't think it was a limit or an exclusive to the to Nintendo, which is kind of interesting. All right, where are we going from here? Okay, let's just go straight through. Might as well grab some more Masetta while we're here. Uh-oh. Okay, let's get rid of this Lily before it makes short work of most of us. Shin Megami Tensei Black Devil Children for Game Boy. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. There's actually a really good retro store in my neighborhood, and I got a pretty good reputation with the guy, and he gets a lot of import Game Boy games. But I'm also thinking that I might finally break down at some point and get a multi-cart for the Game Boy. I was thinking about getting one for the Game Gear as well, but to be quite honest, I think I have all of the Game Gear games that I actually want. I still might get one for the Lynx, but the thing is, the Lynx, not that many games for it, and there's a very real possibility if that I keep trading up the way I'm trading, it might be another one of those consoles that I have a possibility of getting a full set for at some point. Okay, well that's good to know, Ian. Thanks. Alright, and we'll go through here. Oh wait, let's take care of that Lily, yes. Bang, bang, bang. Alright, sweet. Some grabbed up my stuff. Was it me? No, it definitely was not me. Not I. Alright, who has picked up somebody else's property? Okay, here we go. Did I grab that money? Nope, definitely not me either. Def not I. I'm a broke ass. Okay, cool. I figured out how much it was. So 940K. How much do I have? 93K. Okay. Yeah, definitely not me. Alright, and they're sorting each other out. Let's feed our mag when we got a moment. level up. Sweet. 96. Money comes easy around here. I've had my cash scooped up so many times after I died. I just stopped caring. Much like real life, someone always seems to scam my cash. Okay, where are we going here? Perfect. I believe Bob, if I remember correctly, he is originally from good old Canada land himself. Right. Where are we going from here? Okay, let's go jump in the warp and see where that takes us. Bang. Okay, cool. Okay, this looks very familiar. And just for fun, let's see how much. Okay, we got 295,000 more XP to go before our next level up. It's gonna be a little while, but that is okay. All right. Now, one thing you probably noticed is I typically don't use my special attacks, and that's because with this S rank weapon, it's sort of a roll of the dice on what kind of attacks you're going to be able to get from it. So sometimes it'll debuff an enemy, sometimes it'll buff an enemy, sometimes it'll debuff you, sometimes it will buff you, sometimes it'll hit quite a bit, sometimes it'll hit for nothing. You just never quite know. And because of that, I typically don't use the special attack. Okay, bang, bang, bang. Okay, we got it. Did we get that one too? Sweet, we did. Okay. And I should probably use a photon blast at some point. We seem like we're kind of at that point where we're just wasting it, not using it right away. Alright, where do we go? How much HP need to survive lilies? I think it's insta-kill. You need a good ring or something. Okay. I'm really liking that one guy's weapon. He looks like he's got a flying V guitar. Okay, while we're bursting, why don't we fire up one of these guys? This cream soda thing, I gotta admit, it tastes like candy, which is not good, but it's got quite the kick to it. Alright, let's fire up a steam whistle. Ah, that's better. Alright, so where do we go from here? Shop. Okay, cool. Damn, using a black ring. Alright, well, let's quickly kill these guys then. Don't necessarily want to go to the shop just yet. Don't really need anything. Okay, bang, bang, bang. And we'll freeze them just to kind of give ourselves a little bit more breathing room. And somebody's also using a photon blast, that's perfectly fine. Nice. Anything we can use? No. Fluids do not do us any good. Okay, so who are we missing here? Somebody went back to the shop. We're slowly encroaching on the end of this level. Alright, where do we go? This way. Okay, cool. Sorry guys, I keep falling asleep. Good sign. Good sign. Oh shit, okay, let's get rid of these lilies as soon as possible. I have that effect on people. We will try and entertain you more. Alright, let's use this freeze trap and come on, let me out of here, you sons of bitches. How did I get frozen? Alright, let's take out these lilies before they take us out. Oh shit, after roll. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay, let's grab all of our stuff before we end up having somebody else take it, and we're dead again. Shit. And okay, cool. The lilies are all taken out. We gotta strategize a little bit more next time we kinda... Oh fuck, there's two more? Shit. Okay, let's alternate our shots, guys. That way it doesn't have a chance to respawn its attack. Okay, cool, it's out. Alright, we'll make short work of that dragon, and... fucking puddles. Let's just take those guys out as soon as possible. And we got them. Score. Okay, here we go. Moving right along. Let's just confuse them just to say we did. Nice. Okay, anything we can use here? That is always nice, but not really. Okay, what do we got? Diamate. Yes, we can always use diamate. Speaking of which, let's feed our mag. Alright, score. Okay, we are up to date on our mag. Now let's dip out of here. Which room did we miss? That's the big question. Oh shoot, missing some XP. Okay. We go through here. Oh, okay, I see. So we don't take out those rocks. We're supposed to... Oh, okay, we go around. There you go. That makes more sense. Those guys are taken out. Perfect. Okay. No. Oh, cool. One of our friends got a level up as well. Nice. Okay, good old Bob Dobbs got a level up. And where are we now? Okay, what are we supposed to do? That pillar that you see there, remember that, because if you're ever to play offline, you really want to make sure that you know where the pillars are, because once you beat, not once you beat the main game, but once you get to the end, you're expected to go through it all the way again and reveal the pillars, which, if you don't know where they are, it can be kind of annoying. Okay, how did that person get over there? Okay, cool, I see. That makes more sense. bang, bang. Alright, let's see if we can launch one of these traps and sort of knock some life out of them. Tag everybody and snipe. I'm going back to Dreamcast actually, because Dreamcast has been on my mind mostly because I finally subscribed to Dreamcast Guy's channel. Now, they've been around for quite some time. I think I was actually subscribed to their Twitch channel at one point, but I never really watched them. I never really, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just always passed them by. But a couple of people have been telling me to check out some of Dreamcast Guy's videos, and I didn't quite understand why. It sounded like it was just another person doing just the same thing that we're all doing, right? But get on, and the first video I watched, he's talking about his 100,000 subscribers that he's most recently attained, and decides to give a little bit of personal story about how he got to where he was, and it was, you know, extremely candid. Definitely not what I was expecting, and he seemed pretty, like, I don't know, I didn't say accepting because it is what it is, but like he seemed quite comfortable discussing what had gone on in his life to get him where he is today. And I gotta admit, he got me kind of hooked. The guy's got a good way of delivering a message and telling a story that appeals to me, and I do enjoy the fact that the guy comes from a little bit of struggle as well. I'm not going to spoil his story for him, but definitely watch this 15-minute video that he just recently put up about getting to know the Dreamcast guy and why he got that name and everything like that. It's quite interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily inspiring, but I do like it when you see people that kind of have to have some sort of adversity in their life and sort of come out on top. And for me, that just kind of felt like what happened with Dreamcast Guy. After assuming that everything he said was true, it's kind of difficult for me in some ways to listen to that story and not necessarily believe it, but I also think about where I would have been in that situation, mostly because I did have a previous history of working at homeless shelters, and if there was a guy that was staying with us that was hooking up his Dreamcast to the shelter television and playing a couple of rounds of that instead of maybe, I don't know, trying to find housing, I think at that time I would have been a little bit harder. Nowadays, it's you know, it's just the thing that comes with age, I suppose. It's not that I'm more accepting or anything like that, but I'm definitely, you know, I'm from a model of like, hey, people are going to do what they're going to do. If that's what makes you happy, by all means, enjoy. But yeah, back in the day, I probably would have I wouldn't have taken the guy's Dreamcast away at all, but I probably just been like, come on, man, put away the toys. It's time to find yourself a place to live. Which isn't exactly a bad thing to say either, you know, like, yeah, gotta go on the Switch. Did you find it? Did you find it? Alright, let's see if I can go around and maybe help this person out. Maybe they ran into a little bit of trouble. There they go. Alright, so let's jump on the Switch and then we'll double back. Alright, cool. We got it. Alright, let's take them out. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, let's get out of here, my friends. We do not need to be wasting time in this room. Alright, going back. Here we are. Okay, sweet. go through here, and for some reason I suspect we're kind of coming to the end of this level, or at least getting close. Anything good here? No, no, no. Oh, shit. Forgot the switch. Okay. My bad, guys. Alright, what is in here? Right, friends. Come back. Okay. No problem. I must have fucked up somewhere. Okay, what do we need? There we go. Okay, score. My bad. I thought that switch actually opened up the side door. So, I also mentioned on a previous stream that I was going to review this new device that was just released by Brooks Games. And it was essentially an adapter that allows you to connect your PS3, PS4, and USB fight stick to your Dreamcast. And I think a lot of people have got it recently. It came in the mail recently. A lot of folks that pre-ordered it. And there's really not that much to say about it. I mean, it is what it is. It's a an adapter that allows you to connect modern day controllers. Not that special. It works quite fine. I was able to connect my PS3 controller to it, no problem. But then you run into the issue of, I really want to play the Dreamcast with my PS3 controller. And the answer is no. The extra analog sticks on it would have been quite nice if they're compatible with some games, but overall, yeah, it's not really that great of an investment unless you really like the PS3 and PS4 controllers. I am interested to see what they do with the firmware updates in the future, but as it stands, all I can say is it's a great controller for what it does, but what it does isn't exactly useful to me at this point. And actually, it's funny that I didn't stream last night too. Sorry, just going back to some of the streaming updates. Actually, I was going to stream Saturday, but Dreamcastic's channel and Dreamcast Junkyard were both streaming PSO. I thought it was a bit overkill. PC Wizard's been trying to get their sort of streaming capture setup going for a little while now. It looks like they finally got it to a point where they can stream at 720p 30 frames per second, I think, with basically no problem, which is pretty good. And they put in a good 2-hour session with PSO during the middle of the day. For me, that's a little bit difficult just because of my particular lifestyle, but I'm glad they finally got it working. You know, that more publicity for the game, better. Checking out that room we unlocked. Okay, cool, no problem. Let's launch this freeze trap. Gave us all a little bit of headache. But yeah, overall, there's really not too much to say about that controller adapter, and I am glad that our friends are starting to stream. It would be really nice if we can get a game going with Dreamcast UK, PC Wizard, and myself, all in a team, all in a stream, where we can see everybody's different points of view of the game. I think that would be kind of interesting. But from what I understand, Dreamcast UK was kind of a one-off for them. And I know that PC and crew, they generally play around 5:30 on Saturdays, which is great for some people, but unfortunately it doesn't really work for me at this time in my life. Maybe in 20 years, if we're still streaming PSO on Dreamcast, I'll have that opportunity. Alright, did we take them all out yet, or we still got... Oh, there's another slime. Okay. Let's use the damage trap then. Cool. Done. We don't really need a mono grinder. And are we going to cave level 3? Cave level 3. Alright. Now, I think we've lost somebody. Should we drop a telepipe? Look for the blue armor. Blue arrow. Okay, cool. On map. Alright, cool. While we're waiting for everybody to kind of regroup, I just want to show off a couple of things here. So, I mentioned that we got a couple of new cool pickups recently. Some of them were a little bit more interesting than others, but it was kind of nice to see the things out there in the wild. So I finally got a copy of Monopoly on PS1. Now, most people are going to be like, who cares about Monopoly, especially on PS1? I actually kind of really like this port. It's really, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. Monopoly, of course, you know, don't really need to explain that game too much, but just having a decent port of it on a that looks actually pretty good and is kind of interactive and stuff like that. Like it's a lot of fun. It's great if you can get a lot of people playing as well instead of just playing against the computer the entire time. But for what it is, I found it to be pretty faithful to the original game. So I would suggest it, and it's pretty cheap as well. Board games on consoles, those are always kind of iffy. I did play. I remember one point I downloaded Monopoly for PS3. I can't remember what it's called exactly. Monopoly something or other, but man, that game was terrible. And you could never find a lobby with people to play either. Like, the lobbies were always empty, which was really disappointing. So you really don't want to play that game against the computer. You really want to play with other people and have that interactive element. And if nobody is playing it and it's a dead sort of online scene, it's really not that worth playing. I think you can still buy it in the PSN shop. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure you can. You okay, Bob? Aha, I'm out. Good evening, everybody. Okay, I guess Jim Bob's out. We are so close. Alright, well, I guess Jim Bob's got to do their thing, so that's fine. It is what it is. Trimate. Alright, which door are we going through? This one? What do we got here? Oh, little, didn't say secret room, but little treasure room. Anything we need? No. Okay, 1, 2, 3, drop. And anything here? Probably not. Oh, cool. Okay. So, where are we going? This way. No, wrong way. Perfect. Alright, I smell an exit coming. One thing I do recall about Caves 3 is that level design is not that large. Okay, we'll wait for this fella to split apart. And it does appear that whoever we have playing with us currently is able to buff. That is always useful. Okay. Okay. We can take care of these guys pretty easily. Oh, cool. Bob Dobbs is back. Alright, let's get out of here. Now, one game that actually popped in recently that I was kind of hoping still had a good online community, because I have been playing around recently with my PS2 and playing a little bit of Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PS2. From what I understand, Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PS4 and other consoles and whatnot, I understand that's actually being shelved. Like, I think they're taking away the online aspect of it or something like that. Like, it seems kind of silly. Like, that's a pretty core component of playing Battlefront. But, again, don't quote me on that. That's just kind of what I heard through the grapevine. But Battlefront 2, I've actually warmed up to it on the PS2. I didn't really like it at first, for whatever reason. Just seemed like a lot of running and gunning. But, it's actually a lot of fun if you've got a decent crew to play with. The only issue is that there's a lot of veterans in that play that. Obviously, if you want to play Star Wars Battlefront 2 that badly for the PS2, you're going to be a pretty dedicated person, and you're going to have a lot of experience playing that game and stuff like that. So it can get a little challenging playing that game with a number of people that know it very well, but you do pick up on it quite easily. Obviously, the nuances of the game are what really make the difference. Okay, did we take that guy out? Okay, cool. Alright, we need to get some decent goodies. What do we got here? Anything? I think we got at least... No, we don't. Okay. Item pack. Telepipe use. BRB. Alright, so we just used our photon blast. We're not going to lose anything by going back to the shop for a second. Let's just get some more dimates. Because we don't want to waste this opportunity to increase our mag strength. Let's just keep doing as much as we can when we can. Here we go. Buy dimates. Yes. And let's feed our mag while we're here and buy more dimates. And level up. Sweet. Okay, we don't want to go there. Come on, come on, come on. Buy dimates. Yes. And do we need anything else? No, we don't. Okay, cool. Okay, back to the game we go. That was short and sweet. And it looks like Jim Bob's taking some hits. Oh shit, okay, where are we? Fuck. Forest 2, Forest 2, Cave 3, Cave 3. Okay. This Cave 3? Let's find out. Should have recognized which color I came out of. Damn it. This definitely was not it. But I don't think we were too far behind this either. Item, area map. No, we're pretty close. Okay, cool. We should be able to catch up with the crew pretty easily. For whatever reason, Bob Dobbs is not buffed. That could possibly be why. Because they're taking a break or something like that from the game. mentioned something about having to help out his wife, so you know, all that IRL stuff comes into play once in a while. Anybody ever watched the earlier streams when I just had my little one? Holy smokes. It was ridiculous. I'd have to stop half the streams because there'd just be crying and stuff in the background. It is what it is. Family duty takes priority, right? Okay. We got these traps. Alright, did we get them all? Yes, we did. Sweet. And so far we still have a full house. I thought we were going to be losing somebody at one point, but it appears as though they've decided to stay. So that's great. I should have probably taken this opportunity as well to go to the med center and replenish all my traps, but that's okay. It is what it is. We'll survive. We're nearly at the end anyways. We don't typically use a lot of traps against the boss, so I'm not too worried about that. Hey, Fantasy Boy, welcome aboard, my friend. Anything good here? Not really. Let's take out these lilies sooner than later. They get to be quite the pain in the ass. Okay, which way are we going? Okay, let's each grab one of these just to say we did. Jump on the switch. Come on, who are we missing here? Come back! Oh, it looks like Jim Bob is doing their own thing. There you are. Okay, perfect. That's okay. They got a little bit excited. Alright, where are we going here? Alright. Oh shit, okay, let's take out this lily before we get too far into it. Okay, bang, bang, bang. Heaven Punisher for one room? Let's do it. Let's see if we can. Bang! There we go, guys. Actually, the Heaven Punisher's not doing too bad at all against some of these guys. Nice. You generally can't penetrate this at all. Look at that. The Heaven Punisher is typically a weapon used best against dark enemies. Does not appear to be doing too bad here. And, okay, sweet. Well, at least against some of them. Alright, good enough. Take that out. Let's go through here. And maybe we'll stick around with the Heaven Punisher for a little while. It is a pretty awesome weapon. Oftentimes you can only use its special attacks during certain times in the game, but when you can, it's pretty amazing. Okay. I have not tried it against falls yet, though. Or at least I don't think I have. I probably have, actually. There's no way I haven't tried the Heaven Punisher against falls. It would be the most ideal weapon against falls, I think. Okay, lilies are not getting nearly the amount of punishment that I'd like them to be getting, but that's okay. Bang. Okay, cool. Let's get out of here. Oh, it's just a treasure room, nothing too exciting. Okay, and somebody decided to photon blast. Probably be in our best interest to donate during those times, just because don't think we're gonna get a full photon charge by the time we get to the end boss here. And in case you were not aware, if you decide to go back to Pioneer with a full photon, or actually any photons rather, you're gonna lose those when you go back to Pioneer and try to jump back into the game. So it's very important that you just use them when you have the opportunity to, or if you are going to save them, make sure that you have enough supplies so you do not have to go back to Pioneer and then have it interrupt the photon build. Oh wow, that was a pretty long tunnel to go nowhere. Alright, where else can we go here? Okay, sweet. Hopefully this will give us better luck. There we go. Now nobody in game yet has commented on my weapon of choice, but there's some people are curious about it. Alright, that takes us right back to here. We don't necessarily want to be here, I don't think. I think there were some other doors that we had not opened yet. Yes, there was. Okay, cool. What's in here? Oh, sweet. Now we can finally replenish those traps. Oh, nice. Okay, so where do we go from here? Do we loop around? Is that what we're supposed to do? Let's find our area map. Okay, actually, let's use our mag first, and we will fuel up. Oh, okay. Well, thanks, sir. If you want to go through the PayPal donation link in the description, that'd be more than appreciated, but completely unnecessary. Just aim to please. Okay, area map. Where are we supposed to go from here? Oh, shoot. Let's go around this way. Right, up we go. And we missed a room, didn't we? Okay, so we're supposed to go up and right? Is that where we're supposed to go? No, we're supposed to go up and straight. And I guess we veer right in this next room. Ah, there we go. We haven't gone through this way yet. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, cool. We are back to where we're supposed to be. Okay, anything good? Dimates are always handy. And the final ring. Here we go. Okay, now I will have to retire the Heaven Punisher here. It doesn't do us much good against the final boss, but it was fun while it lasted. Okay, cool. There we go. Alright, so we should make pretty short work of this guy. Oh shit, did somebody activate the game before all of us could join? Oh no, we're all in game. Okay, score. Okay, where are you, you son of a bitch? There we go. Thank God we got somebody on our team that can finally buff us up properly and heal us. There's nothing more painful than trying to play with a bunch of droids. Okay, where are you hiding there, buddy? You're back there. I don't think I can get a shot that close. And we took out those traps. Good. Okay, where are you hiding? Bang, bang, bang. Did we get a shot at least? Okay, let's take out those traps as well. And let's tag him as much as possible, people. Let's get this guy out of here. Now, I'm very curious because when you get to the ultimate level, and particularly this boss here, Lie, I've noticed that they've got a very specific set of patterns, and it doesn't seem to matter who I have on my team. We can never beat this character before they follow through with their very specific sets of patterns. So now he's going to come back. Now he's going to drop rocks, I believe, right? Okay, where is he now? Okay, he's hiding over here. Like, I've never been able to take him out before he shuts the lights off, for instance. That should be happening fairly soon. What happens now? He holds back. Okay, see, now he drops a bunch of rocks. Kind of predictable, but... Oh, did we dodge them all? Wow, that's the first time we've dodged all the rocks. Nice. Okay, now the lights go off. It's dark. Dookie dookie. We can still see where he is in the monitor, so it's not a real big deal. Okay, let's tag him as much as possible. And he jumps over, jumps ahead. Gonna jump on board one more time, I think, before he's finally done. Okay, let's heal ourselves up just to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position where we lose all of this momentum. Okay, guys, this is it. This is it. This is it. We can do it. Come on. Do I have any more? Oh, sorry, I'm out. Damn. Okay, so I don't have any more moon atomizers. It's good to know. So next time we go to Pioneer, we will stock up. Okay, we got these traps. We generally don't last this long against this particular character. Don't think they're dead quite yet. Nope. Okay, this is it. Okay, he's done. Nice. Nice. Oh. Nice. Okay, we got a decent amount of XP from that as well. Any goods things? Not really, eh? Okay, well. I got a escape doll anyway. Cool. Well, that was a lot of fun. Alright, let's go back to Pioneer and get rid of some of the stuff that we do not want. And let's feed our mag while we're thinking about it. Give ourselves a chance to replenish some of our supplies. Cool. Okay. Now let's go to the shop. Stock up with some dimates for next game and maybe unload some things that we don't need. Okay, anything? No, we don't need a mono grinder. Sell. What do we got? We need most of that stuff. Okay, let's say goodbye to Jim Bob. Later. Night. Here you go. Oh, we just lost Jim Bob. Alright, cool. I'm out. 2. Good game. Sweet. Alright. Good game, everybody. Let's go back to the lobby. See who's all chilling out there. We'll save our game. And exit properly. Alright, there's Yuki. I'm not sure who that person is. Save 1. Okay, night all. Alright, item pack. Quick game. And disconnect from the network. Okay, awesome. That was a lot of fun. It was good to see Bob Dobbs. We haven't seen them in quite some time, so nice to see them back in action. And what do we got? Randy Rhoads and Michael Schechner have arrived in PSO. Okay, I thought the servers were offline for PSO. Yes, Timothy, the official servers are offline, but the third-party servers are in full force. Okay, let's go back to the main video screen here. And that was a lot of fun, guys. Good crew. I like those people actually, because we're all kind of on the same level. I feel like we're not. You know, I really enjoy playing with people that are sort of in the 190s up to 200 because they, well, let's be honest, they save my ass a lot of time in a lot of these quests. But it's also fun to play with people that are sort of on the same level because they make those same quests a little bit more interesting and challenging. So, you know, it's not always the most fun for me to play those quests when you've got somebody that's got sort of this uber weapon, takes out all the enemies, and you're lucky to get a shot in just to tag them to get XP. So, you know, I really like that crew. We haven't been seeing a lot of them lately, so hopefully we'll see more of them as well. But before we go, guys, I just want to show you a couple of cool little pickups that I got. So, just got this the other day. Nothing special, but it's always good to have an extra PS3 controller kicking around, because you just never quite know. And in a local trade, I finally got a copy of this. Now, I've had this many times in the past. It's one of my favorite games for Atari. Not enough people talk about it, but it's a lot of fun, and that is Star Raiders. So Star Raiders is a sort of first-person flight sim-ish type game. The cool thing about Star Raiders for Atari is if you get the deluxe edition, which I got here, it comes with 2 boxes inside. So it comes with the actual Star Raiders game, and it's loaded with all sorts of extras too. That was the cool thing about Atari. So they give you the actual Atari, you know, Star Raiders cart, and in addition to that, they give you, oh geez, like a whole ton of different comic books and catalogs. And sorry, let me just flip that around so everybody can actually see that. Comic books and catalogs for all their games and upcoming products and stuff like that. So that's pretty neat. But really cool part about this game that I enjoy is that it comes with a video touchpad. So you plug this into controller port 2, and it gives you this little touchpad here that you can activate different functions in the game. So you get more than one button. And it really kind of, like, at the time, I can remember playing this when I was a little kid, like, it was just mind-blowing. You felt like you were in the cockpit of a spaceship to some extent, you know, like obviously Atari has its limitations and stuff like that, but at the time nothing else like it was around. It was one of my favorite games. I just started playing it the other day, and it's quite challenging. I don't know if that's because of me just not being as experienced with it as I used to be as a kid, or if it suffers from most games that I get nostalgic for. It's just not very playable nowadays by modern day standards, but it's very interesting game to experience. What else did we get here? Now here you'll see I've got my links out, and that's not because I got a Lynx. I've had my Lynx for quite some time. It's actually a console I really enjoy. Now this is the Model 2. It's probably the best model you can get if you're going to be going down the Lynx rabbit hole, and the games are still quite cheap, even though more people are talking about them, unfortunately. But I ended up getting a couple of really cool carts for it. Now the nice thing about the official bag is that you can put the carts in the side, but I ended up getting a copy of, find both of them here. here. There we go. Ended up getting a copy of Rampart and Rampage for the Lynx. And if you haven't seen the Lynx before, it's actually a really, really nice system in terms of like how it looks and everything like that. And it's got some pretty good arcade ports. I find the arcade port for Rampart particularly interesting, but it's really cool to fire up. You just hold it like this, hit the power button like so. Oh, it's saying insert games, probably because it's just a bit of a loose cartridge. Let's try that again. I did clean it off not too long ago, so hopefully this isn't going to fail me. Oh, here we go. Insert game. Is it gonna load? There we go. Sweet. And there we are. Rampage. So, you know, for an older console, the screen, it doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit washed out, but it's not terrible. It's completely playable. And yeah, I really enjoy the Lynx. This is another one of those thrift store finds I got back in the salad days of thrifting, when you could still get a console with 6 games for 20 bucks, but those days are long gone now, unfortunately. And finally, I just ended up finding a couple of really cool records in the thrift store bins. So always like the debut from B-52s, that's a good one. Beatles White Album, sort of mint condition-ish, so that's always a good one to have on board. Particularly like that album, even though I'm not a huge Beatles fan. Fleetwood Mac Rumors, can't go wrong with that. Also kind of getting back into the Boomtown Rats. This one is a promotional copy, which is interesting. I'll have to price that up. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and Little Neil Young action. Not bad. All good stuff to have on LP. Just the CDs don't do it justice, right? Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. It's a really great stream. I really enjoyed playing with those guys. Sorry I didn't really get into a couple of the topics that I wanted to discuss, but I was getting a little bit too distracted with the gameplay. But hey, that happens. Can't win them all. In the meantime, guys, hope everybody has a great night. Thank you so much for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and spread the word. We want to have a lot more people on PSO, and for those people I wasn't able to play with tonight, hopefully we'll get to play another time. In the meantime, take care. I'll see you later.